This video is not clickbait. This video is not drama or hyperbole. I woke up this morning to an additional 2 copyright strikes, leading us to a grand total of 4 out of 3 copyright strikes. Okay, so we brought slides just so that it's like as clear as possible. So this will be a bit of an update. I got some good news towards the end, and then we will probably just leave this up until
the channel gets deleted.
Yeah, until we have an update from this. Okay, so if you're here live, guys, smash that like button. We should have been streaming this on X too. We'll get to other platforms at the end.
We do need to get on another platform.
Yeah. All right. So channel termination update. Okay. We organize this to be as clear as possible. Okay. So what is a copyright strike? A copyright strikes are issued when we remove content because a copyright owner sent us a complaint and valid legal request asking us to do so. So this is a copyright strike, meaning that someone believes you're using their content. Now, a copyright claim is not the same as a copyright strike. We get copyright claims, they're usually automated. They're always dropped. Any videos we've had with Joe Rogan, copyright claims have always been dropped because the humans on the other side, when we reply, go, oh, clearly this is a reaction video, and they've lifted them. Copyright claim and a copyright strike is not the same thing. A copyright strike is escalating it to the point of wanting to do damage on a channel. Okay, now, if you guys didn't know, there's 3 strikes and you're out rule. I don't know who came. Were they just super fans of baseball?
Yeah, I guess so.
3 strikes and you're out.
Very American. Like, I don't know. This is how our parents punished us.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
3 strikes and your channel is terminated. And also, it's important to note that community guideline strikes are also different. Community guideline strikes are not copyright strikes. It's when you violate the guidelines of community. So when you guys see a lot of people who are taken off YouTube, it's often because of community guideline strikes because they're talking about something they shouldn't be talking about. This is why we tend to speak in code sometimes and be careful to follow the YouTube community guidelines and not say anything that is outside of the community guidelines, okay? Copyright strikes are not that. They're different. Either way, you get 3, you're out. So
this is what we woke up to this morning.
This is what we woke up to. This is a real thing I got. 4 copyright strikes. Account termination is on hold. Your YouTube channel will be terminated soon, along with any associated channels. Remember, we have 2 other channels. Unless you are able to resolve your strikes. During this period, strikes will not expire and you will not be able to upload new videos. Your account termination is on hold, awaiting final review of a counter notification. Okay, is everybody tracking so far? Drop a 1 in the chat if you're tracking what's happening. So we got 2 copyright strikes last week for some older Joe Rogan reaction videos. Okay, I checked in with the person who filed those, and their concern was because we were using fair use, but there was still some affiliate links, which almost every reaction channel has. Their concern was that this may not be full copyright. I've since sought out legal counsel to get perspective. A lot of people that have been very helpful in the process that I'll shout out in a moment. Okay, so this is what I woke up to this morning. This was filed at 3 a.m. So I got on it really quick. I sent a letter through a friend to Joe Rogan. We'll talk about that. So there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to unpack here, okay? So we're at 4 copyright strikes. Termination is on hold. What that means is that we could still be live with you guys, and we could still upload videos. That's why that George Janko, Andrew Tate video went out earlier. We were like, can we upload?
We're confused. We're testing it, seeing what's working, what's not working.
Yeah.
But I guess we're still live right now.
Right. And in the middle of this, we ended up having a random glitch on YouTube.
Yeah.
Tell them about that, Zach.
All right. So we're going about our day. We see this account termination thing. So we're already wondering, can we even upload? Can we even live stream? As we are in the process of uploading our daily video and our live stream as well, we're like, hey, let's get an early stream. Let's get an early video going out because we don't know what the rest of the day looks like. Then in the middle of uploading videos, and on our YouTube backend, all of the videos start saying an error, some sort of error around the monetization. And I was like, uh-oh, that's not good. So all the videos that said monetization were on, now it's saying this is unavailable, monetization unavailable, which is an interesting notification that we haven't previously gotten before. And so I was like, this is it. This is it. They're getting us before we get into our daily stream. They're taking down all our videos in a matter of minutes to maybe an hour. The rest of the channel is going to be deleted. And then we will be in the legal process of contacting YouTube and trying to figure out how to get our channel back out of the cyberspace. And then we noticed it started happening on the second channel. And they're like, oh my goodness, they're taking down all our channels.
Yeah.
We're hosed. But then like 30 minutes pass. We're refreshing the page, trying to see what's going on, and it goes back to normal. And we realize, oh, that was just
some sort of random glitch.
Unrelated YouTube glitch, which spooked us. That was it. We thought this was it.
You know, you guys know I'm not the one to like hyper spiritualize.
Yeah.
But this is the weirdest spiritual attack we've ever felt condensed in a small window of time. I'm talking about there's 5 of us that work here. If you guys didn't know, there's 3 contractors, and everyone's getting hit with like random stuff. Personally, there's stuff that's happening here. So it's been really rough. This is like we have our conference coming up. Our venue fell through. We're having trouble with that. This happens the weekend that my manuscript revisions are due. I'm writing a book. If you guys didn't know, it's coming out with a major publisher. So all the timing of this is like, gosh darn it.
And coming out of our 2 months of the summer, which is usually our lowest viewed month. So hey, everyone's going back to school. Our views are going to start to go back up, and it helps us run the business and reach more people. Yes. And so we were like, okay, all these things are going to be looking good in the algorithm. And then boom. Channel termination is on the table. Yep.
So in terms of other platforms, Rumble, we'll get to that later. Okay. There's some good news. Not a lot of good news, but a little bit of good news. But here's wait, did you have the folks we're going to thank, or you didn't put that in the slide?
I didn't put that in the slides.
Okay. So before we go back, let me just first shout out a couple people. There's a couple folks that have been very helpful in this, and I want to make sure that we give props what props is due. The YouTube community as a whole. Some people that you guys know of, some people you guys may not know of, have been extremely helpful in the process. And I just want to give them some props so that they, we just honor them, because this is interesting. Pull up some of these channels real quick.
Yep.
So the YouTube community being supportive and being willing to help out. First and foremost, shout out to my guy, Nick Jones, who was willing to have me on his channel to help spread the word of this situation. You misspelled Nick's name. Nick Jones. There you go. So if you guys aren't subscribed to Nick Jones, he was like, hey, man, can you hop on a call? Let's do a quick video and kind of like signal boost the situation. Lila Rose is looking into every single thing she can to help with this. If you guys don't know who Lila Rose is, she's a fan of the channels. She's a friend of the channels. Lila Rose has been super helpful. Sean Cannell posted this on X and personally looked out in terms of his relationships. Sean Cannell from Think Media. And just a countless amount of people that have reached out and said that they were praying, that they're trying to help. Folks like Smart Christian Channel, John Clash, JP. Surprisingly, Abba and Preach have a video, I think either shot, that was about to go out to help bring awareness to this.
Really?
And so, and again, there's a hint of good news that we'll get to at the end, which is amazing. What's up?
Nothing.
I'm distracted, you guys. I'm like a squirrel. Okay, every little thing.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, Abba and Preach were like, hey, we could talk about it, and Abba's advice specifically was like, hey, what I would do if I were you is I would get as many people talking about it as possible, because then maybe it gets on Rogan's radar, and then if this is real, then they'll chill.
Yeah.
Right. Which leads me to my next point, which is a channel called Hardwood, Look, pull this guy up. This is someone that reached out. Matt from Hardwood, right there. Yep, right there. Yep. Reached out on X and said that he just got hit with a Olympics thing. Same thing, copyright strikes from the Olympics. Got an attorney who helped him write a letter in the counter notification and instantly got it lifted.
Whoa! So he brought that attorney power into the count.
Brought the attorney power. So he connected me with an attorney who I talked to this morning, who was very helpful, and I want to give him a shout out because he was extremely helpful. Robert Fine from the Green Room Legal Group. So big shout out to him. We don't have to pull him up, but and so Robert's advice was, hey, don't go nuclear just yet. Okay. Enough. By nuclear, what we mean is I'm going to tap in with every single person I've interacted with, from obviously Abba and Preach were down to from the Nick Joneses to the Alan Parse to the What Do You Mean? Shout out to What Do You Mean? He's been helpful trying to signal boost this, to the Cap Chat Fields, to guys I've interacted with behind the scenes. You guys don't know I interact with, like a Jamari and a Patrick CC, and just like, hey, let's make noise about this, because within YouTube, there's this unwritten rule that you don't do this. As a YouTube creator that's built their platform on fair use, reactions, interactions, you don't ever do this. This is like a big YouTube no-no. You don't ever do this, and especially you don't do this to try and give somebody copyright strikes that puts them in jeopardy of having their channel down. So that was like, okay, man, this sounds like the course of action. And then I talked to an attorney, and he was like, "Wait a minute, let's not go nuclear just yet. Mm-hmm. Maybe this could be resolved privately." And so, what did we do? What is the update? There's some good news that I'm going to get to in a second, but let me just give you guys 4 things that you can do right now that would help us out a lot. And it's not I got it. And it's not going and blowing up Team YouTube, because I think Team YouTube on X has done everything they can do. I put up a post there. Here's 4 things you guys can do. Primarily pray. Like, we really do covet your prayers. I'm not saying that as like a thing to say right now. I've had to check my own heart in this of like, yeah, this is our livelihood. This is how we make the lion's share of our revenue. There's 7 people here that, their families get supported from it. So pray for sure. Because that really helps. And I've been praying, and I had to make the decision this morning. Am I going to go into a panic, or I'm going to sit down and do my devotional and read my Bible? And I read my Bible, right? And we'll get into some Bible in a second. The second thing is sign up for like our email list. I think that's in the description of this video. It's an easy way to stay connected with us in case the channel gets terminated, in case stuff like this happens, where we can go directly to you guys. Okay. The third thing you can do is sign up for a free trial on Patreon. If you're not signed up, what that does for us is that we want to offload how much revenue YouTube generates. Right now, it's usually our number one revenue generator, which is cool when you're like a solopreneur. Yeah. Not cool to build a business where you're providing and taking care of other people's families. So Patreon just lets us offset some of that. And now we have it as a 7-day free trial. So you don't like it, cancel it, but it just does that. And the last thing you guys could do, buy a prayer journal, buy a leadership planner. We're not going to do like a Indiegogo, what is it called?
Kickstarter.
Not a Kickstarter. Kickstarter's for products. GoFundMe for legal fees. Yeah. Like, we're not doing that. We want to add value. And in exchange for that value, that's how we generate money. That's how we've always generated money. And in terms of the leadership planner, it's on back order right now. I think it's the best product we've ever developed. The prayer journal is fully in stock. The leadership planner will be here in a couple weeks. And we're creating and all of the supply chain stuff we're cleaning up to make sure we even get a better margins on stuff and bring the prices down for our products. But in the meantime, buying something could really help in terms of if we have to face legal actions in this, right? Which we don't want to do that. Now, that's what you could do. That's how you could help. Please pray. If you can't do nothing else, pray. All the other ones are obviously optional. Those help out as well. But the tension of this is very real, and it is very serious. So I'm not, this is not clickbait. I'm not playing around, none of that sort of stuff. And I'm checking my email all the time. So here's a little bit of progress that was made before we show that. After the additional 2 strikes came in this morning saying your channel is going to be terminated, I followed up again with everybody. I'm talking, I emailed everybody under the sun. So here's some of the emails that I sent out to. I sent another email out to the booker who I got connected with on Joe Rogan. Okay, and these are all Joe Rogan copyright strikes, which is, I've never heard of Rogan ever doing this, ever, to a creator. I really don't think this is Rogan. But I followed up with the booker on Rogan. I found the old Rogan sponsorship email on a website they don't even host anymore. Followed up with them.
Okay.
Or checked in with them. I followed up in any way we could through YouTube chats, through whatever, with YouTube. I followed up with the person who issued the copyright strike, and even through a mutual friend of mine's and Joe Rogan, which has been very helpful. Shout out to my brother Zuby, been on my channel multiple times. We've known each other since 2019. That's the first time he was on my channel. I've been on his channel. Zuby actually passed along an email from me to Rogan to say, hey, I don't think this is you. This doesn't sound like you, but we just want you to know your name is being used to potentially take out a much smaller creator. Okay? So the update, the good news, there's a little bit of good news. Okay, the good news is that the people who filed the claim, which I'm still not 100% sure if they're with Rogan, and I'm not going to say their names, replied, and it's not Superbam, who usually files the claims, never copyrights. It's not a direct at joerogan.com email. It's not even a at fill in the blank organization email. It's like a random Gmail. Lifted the new set of copyright strikes. What does that mean? That means that out of the videos that were claimed, struck, half of those have been removed and are back up on our channel.
So we're back down to 2 strikes instead of 4.
So now we're not at 4 strikes, which has our channel scheduled to be deleted in 7 days. We're down to 2 strikes. But we're still in very dangerous territory. Okay? Meaning that we got to wait for them to remove the other 2 strikes, or we have to wait for another 7 business days for them to provide proof that they're taking us to court, which would be crazy. Joe Rogan suing Christian YouTuber Ruslan KD.
Rogan v. Ruslan.
That would be insane.
Supreme Court.
And the funny thing about all this is that there's been the H3 situation. There's been another lawsuit that just got thrown out with Brandon Schwab. Was his name Brandon Schwab? Schwab.
Schwab.
Same type of thing. Same exact thing. So there's been other times within recent history of fair use in the exact same way being used, and people going to court. I don't want to go to court to Joe Rogan. I don't think Joe Rogan wants to go to court with Joe Rogan or Ruslan. I don't think any of this is so
it's not a win for anybody.
It's not a win for anybody, right? Now let me give you guys a just update on direction. Okay, if you guys didn't know, we've actually been extremely careful and intentionally careful with how much we use other people's content in our own content, to the point where the biggest complaint we get in our comments is what, Zach?
Dude, just let the clip play. Stop talking. Stop talking over the clip. Just let it rock.
The reason why we play clips instead of reading transcripts and what they said is, first of all, to put the person in context. So if Joe Rogan's talking about God, we want to make sure that we're actually representing him accurately by playing the clip from his own mouth. The reason why we interrupt and talk over the clip is because we have to transform it and make it our own and add commentary, critique, so on and so forth. We play it usually at 1.25 speed. That's another reason we play it at 1.25 speed, is so that it's being transformed in some degree, and it also just allows us to do more stuff. So not only have we changed a lot of what we do, not only have we backed away from doing Joe Rogan videos, we don't talk about it as much as, it's kind of like beating a dead horse. We may occasionally do one. And internally, we're getting to a place of not being as dependent on YouTube with things like our products and our prayer journals, our leadership planners, so on and so forth. We have a new merch collection coming. We're trying to intentionally not be dependent on this platform because stuff like this could happen. And it could be of no fault to Joe Rogan or anyone affiliated with Rogan.
Yeah.
The way the system works is anyone can log in and do this kind of stuff, which is crazy. Okay. So then the logical conclusion is going to be like, well, Ruslan, what about other platforms? We're on other platforms. We want to be as platform agnostic as possible. Rumble had an auto upload feature from YouTube, and then YouTube shut that down. What does that mean? That means now we have to manually upload every video to Rumble, manually upload every video to YouTube, manually upload every video to Facebook, manually upload every video to X. There's a lot of manually uploading, right?
Yeah.
Rumble's audience is substantially smaller, but we don't mind going there. We've talked to Rumble before. We almost did an exclusive deal with Rumble like 2 years ago, believe it or not. When we were much smaller.
Podcast.
Yeah, we were initially going to do our Blessed God podcast there. So we've streamed on Twitch. We're on all the platforms, and we're going to be more intentional to prioritize. We're on Spotify podcast. We're gonna be more intentional to be more platform agnostic and to not be as dependent on any one platform, if that makes sense. So to recap, woke up this morning to an let me start from the beginning. Thursday, two copyright strikes based on old videos from 2023 from Joe Rogan. Woke up this morning to an additional 2 strikes, which brings us to 4 out of 3 strikes, which puts our channel to be terminated within 7 days. We counter notified all those strikes. Half of them, based on the person who filed them, has removed those half. So we're still at 2 out of 3 strikes, and we're basically in limbo waiting until they either provide proof that they're taking us to court or YouTube lifts the other strikes. The person emailed and said, hey, thanks for taking out some of the links and whatever. Now, we can't take the other 2 strikes away on their end. That's what they're saying. They can't take. I don't know how that works. So I said, hey, we already filed the counter strikes, Ken. Rewind the streams. So I filed the counter strikes, and so that's why they're saying they're in limbo, because they filed strikes, we counterfiled, they have to provide proof, and the last 2 strikes they removed right away, but the initial 10 videos are still being held in 2 copyright strikes, and they're saying, hey, we can't remove it because now we got to wait. Yep. So everyone's been contacted that can be contacted. Joe Rogan himself has been contacted.
Did we end up doing the pitch? Yesterday we polled the chat on whether we should pitch Joe Rogan to come on the pod. We didn't do that?
Nope.
Okay. Do you think you'll still do that, or what's your thoughts on that?
The booker's not getting back to me at all. I followed up with the booker today.
It's not really worth it.
Because the situation escalated way more than, let me come on your podcast and talk about this, to like, are you guys really trying to get a channel deleted?
You got
like,
7
this is
days,
crazy.
Yeah.
You know? So it escalated. So I'm still checking the email. So basically what I asked is the guy who filed, who's now being accommodating, who's saying, hey, thanks so much for making these tweaks, took down the additional 2 copyright strikes that he filed at 3 a.m. Those got removed. So now we're back to 2 out of 3 strikes. Mm-hmm. But he's saying he can't take away the other 2 strikes. So I asked him, can I send YouTube a screenshot to say, hey, clearly we want to have this resolved?
Yeah.
Can we do that? He hasn't responded to me yet. Because I don't want to, I don't want to be more difficult. And
it's
then
1 a.m. in India.
Chill. Okay. So, did I cover that? Is that extensive? Is there anything I need to elaborate on?
I think that's the update as of now. So yeah, we were, as the time of making the stream, we were going to get deleted. We have pulled back to 2 strikes. So we're not in the chopping block yet. Now we're back in limbo.
Yeah, and by the way, a counter-strike is not going after Joe Rogan's videos. A counter-strike is counter-notifying their strike that what I'm doing is under fair use and forcing their hand to take us to court.
Yes.
That's what a counter-notification strike. Why do we do a counter-notification strike? Because we can't get the strikes off, and operating a YouTube channel with 2 strikes is crazy. You're like playing with fire when you're maneuvering with two strikes. That's what a counter notification is. And by the way, talking to the lawyer, he's never had anyone take one of his clients to court. This is not something that happens. This is not something that happens at all. So this is either someone that's not connected to Rogan at all, or a new overzealous agency or firm representing him, or Rogan completely hates my guts.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
Could be one of those.
Could be one of those.
Could be that last one. It's hard to tell. But what I do know is that if you head over to blessgod.shop, you can go pick up the Bless God prayer journal that helps support us so that if we get shut down, my baby can eat, Chris can afford his wedding, Samajic can buy his car because his car's dying, and then Ruslan's kids can eat. It's a good, and it's ultimately, it serves you.
Yeah.
It's an amazing tool for your spiritual habit formation, and then for the leaders in the house, in the stream right now, this is an amazing tool to stay organized, create ideas, all of the above.
It's on sale, and it's on back order, which means that there's a shipment coming. And so it'll be shipping in September. Now, let's do some Bible real quick, because I know you guys are like cool, just drama, interesting. Yeah.
That was the pizza. You are the youth group. And now we're getting to the Bible study.
This man said that was the pizza. We are the youth group. All right.
Free Little Caesars. All right.
Hey, shout out to Pines with Acquaintance. Shout out to Apologia Center. Shout out to Corey Miner. Shout out to, listen, all the creators that have been super supportive. I've already shouted some of you guys out. And the folks that have came out of the woodwork that, I wasn't expecting Abba to be down to help, honestly. And he's not only has he been helpful privately, but he was willing to, blow this thing up. And at the advice of legal people, we were like, yeah, let's not do that. So 2 of the strikes got removed. We're still at 2 out of 3 strikes. We're hoping those get removed. But this is what I was thinking. And I'm not saying that I'm not reading myself into this passage, but I think this is a passage relatable to many of us. And it's this idea of what do we do when bad things happen? What do we do when suffering comes? What do we do when we're struggling? What do we do when things happen that we're not comfortable with, right? Mm-hmm. And it reminds me of this passage in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, where Paul says, I was given a thorn in my flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me. And, I'm sure many of us can relate to that. Now, some people would say this was a sickness. Some people would say that this was a mental health issue. Some people would say that we don't know what this thorn in his flesh was, right? But there's a quote here that often people get wrong. And we're going to get there. But verse 8 says, 3 times I pleaded with the Lord to take it away from me. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. My power is made perfect in weakness. I think we have an issue with being perceived as weak, or sometimes being weak and being in a place where we are out of control. Mm-hmm. I was actually having a conversation with one of my family members, and they were wrestling with they don't want to be viewed as weak, right? But the interesting thing is Jesus' response to Paul is, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. That when you come to the end of yourself, and there's nothing there's no more ego, there's no more control, there's nothing you could do in a situation but just say, God, you got this. Mm-hmm. You got to sort this out, because I can't sort this out, right? Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses, in insults, in hardships, in persecution, in difficulties. For when I am weak, everybody in this quote says, then he is strong. The verse actually says, for when I am weak, then I am strong. Mm. For when I am weak, then I am strong. That Christ's power is made perfect in our weakness, in our emptying of ourselves, of our ego, of the things that we hold on to, of our status, of our prestige, of the things that we're dependent on to bring stability to us and comfort to us. That when we're weak and vulnerable, that's when we're actually strong. Why? Because that's when God can step in and literally do something beyond our control and our capacity. And let me just be frank with you. If you're going through a hard time right now, if you're in a place where perhaps you're going through some form of suffering and you can't relate to it, and again, and it may be way worse than your income is liable to completely vanish, or most of it is completely liable to completely. Maybe it's worse than that. Maybe there's a medical condition. Maybe there's a relational thing that seems like it can't be fixed. Maybe there is something you are in an environment or in a situation where you can't control who you're around, family members. And you don't like that feeling of helplessness. You don't like that feeling of weakness. You don't like that feeling of, I'm not in control. I don't like being not in control. I don't like being weak. I don't like someone else having dominion and power over me to wield whatever they want to do to me. Not only can I relate to you, but so can Paul. Like, so can the Apostle Paul. But the beauty in that is walking away with this, for when I am weak, then I am strong. The beauty in this is that the hardships that we go through are there to conform us more and more into who Jesus wants us to be, right? The ability to manage or not manage, to put it in God's hands and say, all right, well, this is in God's hands. I'm not going to sit here and hyper obsess and watch video after video of other people who've gone through this and what are they going to do? And like that's where I go. Some of you guys end up on WebMD. I end up on the dark webs of YouTube trying to figure out who has gone through this and how does it pan out in this, right? The ability to acknowledge my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness, to me, reminds us of how little control we really have over these things, right? Like, being on YouTube is a privilege. Like, let's not get it twisted. Like, this is an awesome privilege, and I believe God's breathed on this, and we get an awesome privilege. But like, we don't take it for granted, right? And whatever it is you're doing, a lot of times it's a privilege. It's an incredible privilege to be even allowed to have a body and a mind and to work and to do these things, right? But ultimately, God's grace is sufficient. God's grace is sufficient for you. God's grace is sufficient for me. And his power is made perfect in our weakness. And that may be uncomfortable in a moment. I am uncomfortable in the moment. And that's okay. Like, that's okay, right? When spiritual attacks come, when spiritual warfare is a thing, when you're wrestling, when you're suffering, it's okay to be weak and say, God, in my weakness, I am strong, because that's when God can step in and do the supernatural. So anyway, let's go to some of your guys' questions, comments. If you're just tuning in, I've already rehashed this twice. I feel like I told the story, then I told it again. So I'd rather not tell it a third time. So if you can, just rewind the stream and watch it. But let me address any questions you guys have, concerns you guys have. Oh, let's go to the super chats. Super chats are always welcome. Again, the 4 things you can do: pray. That's always awesome. Consider
email list. Consider
the email list, which is in the description of this video, so we can stay connected to you guys. In case we do get deleted. Continue to
7-day free trial on Patreon.
7-day trial on Patreon, and consider buying some of our products. Shout out to
blessgod.shop.
Yeah, blessgod.shop. Shout out to Trey Johnson, Free Ruslan, Gronos with the big body, $100. I don't know what currency that is. You'll get through this. One way or another, praying for you. Numbers 6:24 through 26. All right. Let me see. Shout out to my man JP. Just have to make sure he's modded. All right. What else we got? Just got my first strike. I have no idea why they did not show me what I did wrong. Maybe soon I'll be using something else. Yeah, I mean, listen, the strike system is very weird and very arbitrary. I don't quite understand it. It's very bizarre. Where's the email list to sign up? At the very top of this chat, there's a link to our email list, right, Zach?
It
looks like if the channel is deleted,
Let me.
You're in the wrong thing.
Oh no, that's for our Patreon.
Oh, that's for the Patreon. Okay.
Yep.
We'll drop the email link as well. Josh said, after this, are Joe Rogan reactions continuing? We haven't been doing as many Joe Rogan reactions. If you guys haven't noticed, like we don't.
In the description of this video, if you go to Bless God Newsletter.
Yeah, Bless God Newsletter in the description of this video. Thank you. So we haven't been doing that many. I would say moving forward, we'll probably do even less.
Mm-hmm.
And moving forward, will probably be even more transformative, if that makes sense. So that there's less potential for anything to be misconstrued as like we're just trying to,
Yeah, and the most recent one is actually the most recent video we did of Joe Rogan was the first one in a while that did decent. So we kind of stopped doing it in general because it was kind of beating a dead horse. Like we went through that. We tracked a lot of his conversations, which I think were really awesome. I think people really enjoyed it. But the conversation when it's ready to end, it kind of just ends naturally, and we read the room and we move on. So it's a little bit of both. It's like, I don't really know if people need those videos as much, and I don't know if we need the headache. So that's kind of my thoughts as from like a production moving forward standpoint as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely made a shift in terms of we call net positive videos, not dunking on people and not going after people doing takedown videos. I know some of that stuff is fun for you guys to watch, and I'm not mad at anybody who does that. I think there are definitely certain people that need to be taken down.
Yeah.
So
I will say some people are like, oh, if the people that complain with too many Joe Rogan videos, whatever, it's like, but that is the reason we do them though, is that so many times, I would say a majority of those videos, they are net positive. They're, oh, look at this guest that Joe Rogan
How cool
had
is it
on.
that Joe Rogan is talking about
Exactly.
Jesus, the biggest podcast in the world is talking about Jesus?
Exactly.
Props to Joe Rogan.
So I would take a bunch of net positive Joe Rogan videos any day over a celebrity pastor fill in the blank.
Celebrity
did
pastor
this.
bad, false
Yeah,
teacher bad. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, yeah, I get that some people think it's like, it's overdone, but I would much rather highlight cool things and good things that are happening than the celebrity pastor stuff.
Yeah, and even in highlighting good things, like I definitely think we will continue evolving. The content has evolved even from a year ago. Again, we haven't really done any pastor videos in over a year. My last pastor video I remember was Mike Todd 2023 Easter. So we haven't done intention. I mean, maybe there's like the Andy Stanley and the Benny Hinn, but I don't know. I don't know if that
They don't really fall
counts.
into the same evangelical circles, in my opinion.
So what is your plans to do if you deem to shut the channel, if they deem to shut the channel down? To continue making stuff to get you guys over on our email list, get you guys on a Patreon.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Rumble.
We're like,
Go work at a church.
we're joking. We're like, hey, we're reaching out to this church for our event venue, but now we're going to be reaching out for jobs. Hopefully not. We're in the right about this. So like what sucks is the headache and the time and the stress and the short-term financial strain on the business from like just straight practicality, like people getting paid, families being fed. But in the macro, we're in the right. Like we're covered by fair use. There's nothing that we have done that doesn't fall under fair use. We didn't steal anyone's content. Like if this were to go to court, we would win 100 times over. So I'm not actually worried about a long-term, we lost the channel. There are times that the channel gets deleted and then you got to fight for it. And then YouTube will give you all that stuff back because it's deleted, but it's still in cyberspace, right? Somewhere for YouTube. So I'm not actually worried from the standpoint of like, we're going to lose everything. But in the short term, what would happen is that we would just be scrambling over to other platforms, getting content out, emailing the newsletter every day, and streaming on Patreon every single day. So that is why it is also helpful. One, if you like the content, support it on Patreon. But then two, that's one of the more reliable places that we will be always communicating with. So it's a lot of bit of everything.
Yep, that's good. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna wrap this stream up. Zach, can you schedule a stream after this? Because I don't want to meddle this with just our regular reaction stuff.
Yep.
And we will. You could just kind of use one of those like generic pictures of me, and we'll redirect from that. So we'll talk about like the Olympics closing ceremony and whatever else is going on. why not just make unique content? I already explained that. So making unique content, if I'm talking about context of other people and what's happening in current events, I don't want to put them in a situation where I'm misrepresenting them. So the reason why we react to actual things that people have said is because we don't want to take them out of context. Second of all, remind the stream, those of you guys that are mods, where y'all at, man? Mods!
mods went ghost
The
today.
folks that are just popping in, tell them to rewind the stream, please. And so, yeah, so I think because there's cultural conversations happening in the market square, we talk about what is happening, and in that, people care, and we care about what people care. That's why we make the kind of content we make. Now, if it's not for you, then don't watch it, right? But in terms of like, why don't you make original content? We do make original content, and some of it falls within fair use. And we have podcasts that have done hundreds of thousands of streams that have no one else in them.
Yeah,
like no one else. Like our Tyrese podcast has hundreds of thousands of streams. Our conversation with Brenna Blaine has like 70,000 streams from like a couple weeks ago.
Remy Adeleke.
800,000. 800,000 views. So we do make original content, but we also like to react to other content, right? And so it's like, yeah, I think that's why. So if you don't,
that's like asking, what we do is cultural commentary. So that's like telling Ben Shapiro, why are you always reacting to political news? That's make original content, make your own laws. It's like, no, you're misunderstanding what this is. This is not like The Chosen. We're not we're not writing stories here.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to give us $10 million to go do our own series,
I'm in. The Merchant?
I'm in. The
More
Merchant.
fish?
Let's do it. More fish.
Yes.
We'll definitely do it. Please, if you misrepresent someone without context, you will open up yourself up for more or worse litigation. Absolutely. Yeah. So I think if you don't understand what it is that we do, that's on you, not on us. You know what I mean? Like when you guys reacted to Jubilee with Johnny Chang, that was a video that got us into trouble. Johnny, the Jubilee video, we had to escalate that, and then I had to message them privately, and then they went after Abba and Preach in the same way. And Abba and
Jubilee
Preach
does not play around.
Abba and Preach had a whole thing, which is why I think Abba was down to help us out, is because they had the same situation. So like the overzealous nature of this world is very weird, right? And by the way, this happens to us all the time. You know how many people tear apart our podcasts, our clips, our interviews, a bad take I may have, a good take I may have that they misunderstand. That's the nature of a public square conversation around what's happening. Now, some of you guys are like, well, just do Bible study videos. Cool, man. There's channels that do just Bible study videos. Even those channels are reacting and using fair use. Not sure if you knew that. Mike Winger uses fair use. He almost was in the same situation with Benny Hinn and Joel Osteen, right? Corey Minor uses fair use. Like almost everybody uses fair use. So this idea of like, why don't you make original content? Like we do make original content, and it actually does very well. Our conversation with Remy Adeleke, is almost at 1 million views.
I'm gonna let this still redirect to the main video that went out today.
This video?
Yeah, the stream. It might be a nice push, or no? You want people to go to the stream?
No, I would just go to the next stream.
Okay, cool. And do you want to do that next stream like right away?
What do you think?
We can give. I scheduled it for 2:30, so you can end this now, and then we give us like 10-minute, 15-minute buffer type of thing. Or do you want to go right in?
I mean, we got a good crowd here. I don't know how many of them will show up to our regular stream. Are they covering both channels for Bless God and for you? So technically, it would delete any channel we have and any channel that like other channels we have that we're associated with. Are they covering? Yeah. YouTube is fair use. Strikes all by Joe allegedly. By Joe.
They're not official. It's not that clean cut. Like anybody could technically file a claim. So I would hesitate to say that this is Joe Rogan or his team. Yeah, that's kind of where I land.
Well, you said what? This is not Joe Rogan.
I would hesitate to say it's Joe Rogan. Yeah. So I wouldn't like go in Joe Rogan's Instagram comments and
don't do that. Yes, thank you. Please, thank you. Please, and let me mark that so I can leave that in this part. Yeah, do 2:30 for that for the other stream.
Okay.
Please do not harass Joe Rogan, and please do not harass Team YouTube. I did what I could. We got Team YouTube's attention. Terrible response from them, but let's not do that. I've already had something passed on to Rogan, and I think it'll be hopefully received well. It wasn't firm. It was just like, yo, like, you know what the ironic part about all this? This is the Joe Rogan model. Did you guys know that? How did Joe Rogan get famous by having daily podcast conversations. Initially, they were all live on YouTube. And you know what they did? They talked about current events and they would pull up videos and react to them.
Yeah.
It's literally the Joe Rogan model.
Yeah.
Only difference is we don't always have guests in every day. Sometimes it's just me and Zach, which sometimes is more fun. Yeah, I guess, but not really. You work here. So the most hilarious part about all of this is literally the model by the guy that made kind of the model of live podcasting.
Yeah.
And someone's coming in.
These are the Joe Rogan arms.
Literally, our arms are the Joe Rogan arms.
We're like, we need those.
we like those. So that's the most ironic part about all of this is yikes. What a weird situation. So we're waiting to see if I can pass along the email I got from the guy who filed it saying he wants to, back up and remove his copyright claims. And so, I don't want to just forward it to YouTube or blast them some more on TikTok. On X.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I'm waiting. But the good news is, again, 2 out of the 4 copyright strikes are down. Ew. And that is great news. Okay. The bad news is that we're still in danger of the other situation. So sign up for the email list, buy a prayer journal, buy a leadership planner, buy some merch, sign up for the 7-day free trial of Patreon. There's some good stuff over there. We're going to have more guests coming back soon. And I think ultimately, I believe, however the situation works out, which again, I don't think they're going to take me to court. I don't think Rogan's going to take me to court. I wonder at that point, do they have to provide proof that it's actually Rogan or a representative of Rogan? Like when they provide proof of a lawsuit.
No. Oh yeah, that's a good question. Yeah. I mean, well, that's really the deciding factor. And this is also why I lean more towards not Rogan, because it's like, you know what? You have done enough. We're going to release the claims, because maybe they didn't expect that we would counterclaim it and be like, take us to court, run it up. You know what I'm saying? So like this idea, like now we're like, okay, give us proof that we're going to court in 8 business days. And like they know they can't do that.
Yep.
So they're like, you know what? We have done enough. We'll release the claims. It's like, oh, that's convenient, isn't it? Yeah.
So we don't know if it's a scam. We don't know if it's really Joe Rogan or not. We're just pontificating based on a couple of things. One, Joe Rogan has never did this before. 2, he's used the same model that we have and been an advocate for incorporating content, fair use, and not just, by the way, beyond ours. Like he gets mad when he can't play old Eagles songs from the 70s. Yeah. So it's not even what we're talking about. Like he's actually,
Spotify will take care of it.
Right. Like he's actually doing that. So that's why we don't think it's Rogan. That's why we don't think it's any Rogan or anyone of meaning to him. It might be some overzealous new firm that's representing him.
Possibly. Yeah.
Or maybe it really is. I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea of knowing. That's the frustrating part. The frustrating part about all of this is the not knowing. I'd rather just know.
Yeah.
I'd rather just know. I'm playing a game of chicken with Joe Rogan right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I know. Or, oh man, this is a scam. That sucks.
I'm playing a game of chicken with a scam artist.
I'm playing a game of chicken with a scam artist that might try to forge paperwork to take me to court. I don't know. But that's the most frustrating part about all of this, is that we just don't know. You know what I mean? Reminds me when PewDiePie got his song copyrighted by PewDiePie team. Well, yeah, the same thing happened to Rogan, by the way, ironically enough. Rogan caught a copyright strike because someone sampled him. This is in 2014. Someone sampled him in their song.
That's crazy.
Re-uploaded it, and then someone automatically claimed it. The original podcast, which he did. So this kind of stuff is like, work is transformative. People edit and chop and take and recreate, and it's obviously a little different with music, because music and movies fall in the category of art. What we do falls in the category of and what we react to falls in the category of like factual news information. So it's not the same thing as a song or a film.
Can't copyright a Ruslan podcast.
Can't copy. I mean, you can copyright it, but it's not the same. It's not the same thing. So anyway, that's the update. Is there anything else I'm forgetting? Zach?
No, that's it. There's a $2 super chat from Darth Huey. If by any chance you get taken down, how do you pivot? Rewind the stream, of course, but we talked about the few different ways. Partner with us on Patreon, get a Bless God prayer journal or a leadership planner that's on back order. So it'll be shipping in a few weeks from now. But if you want to get ahead of the crowd, you can do that. That helps us keep the lights on. And then theoretically, you know, you would see us on all the other platforms, probably starting another small new channel and then fighting this from YouTube's end to get our deleted channel back. But I don't think it will escalate to that because we've made some forward progress.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, so keep praying. Pray that Rogan actually sees the message from our mutual friend. Pray that YouTube can remove the other strikes quickly. Pray that the people who sent the email will allow me to send a screen grab to them. Pray that God gives us favor with all of this. Pray that we can be more consistent and a platform agnostic. I used to be politically agnostic. Now I'm platform agnostic. We're trying to be platform agnostic. Just be praying for all that. It's still, we're not out of the waters yet.
And we'll still be streaming every day.
And we'll be streaming. We're going to do a stream in about 20 minutes, regular stream. Shout out to JP Uncut. Maybe this is God's way to get Joe Rogan on this podcast or you on his. Maybe, man. What a bizarre.
That would be bizarre.
What a bizarre way, right? And that's why I kind of hesitated to reach out to them initially.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this is a bad first impression.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. This is a bad first impression, right? Yeah. Like you get on his radar because of that bad first impression. But hey, man, God does incredible things in weird ways. So anyway, appreciate you guys. We're going to regular stream about 20, 30 minutes. So if you guys want to hang around for that, I think this will redirect to that. Yep. Yeah, we'll see you guys in a little bit. All right. Love you guys. Peace.